Exceptional Community Hospital. Compassionate care. Exceptional service.
There's a man in D.C.
AM 560 KBLU. Russ Clark with you. It's Monday morning, 6:05. Time to get back to work. Yeah, over the long weekend. If you got Friday off and all that, but wonderful, wonderful time you had this weekend and all that. Time to get back to reality. But New Year's Eve is Wednesday. It's already Wednesday, New Year's Eve. So Thursday is probably another day off, unless you're a police officer or anybody protecting our borders, customs. Those guys still work. So buy them a cup of coffee. They really keep doing it. Over this last weekend, though, there was a lot of cancellations of flights, a lot of things going on in New York City, 4 inches of snow. So they were really having the winter wonderland up there. Thousands of flights canceled. Well, let's get back to that. Let me take a phone call. You're on the air.
Hey, good morning, buddy.
Hey, good morning, sir.
Hey, yeah. I used to be in that winter wonderland up in Chicago, shoveling snow for a living, and let me tell you, they can have it, buddy. This is the weather we live for right now.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's going to be a high of 70 today, low of 58. So it's very attractive.
Oh, it's beautiful, man.
Yeah, it is.
It's a lot better than 20 degrees and drifting snow.
See, you've been there. I even looked at Minot, North Dakota this morning. It's -4. And
ouch.
I used to live there as a kid. My dad was Air Force. There was an Air Force base, Minot.
Do you still remember it?
Oh yeah. I went to grade school there.
Okay.
Well, grade school was on the Air Force base, and man, it was cold.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's nippy.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. Oh, and your first thought about with the police officers.
Yeah.
I always say, whenever I see one or border patrol, I always say, thank you for your service and
Right.
and this and that. And they always say, we appreciate that. We appreciate your support.
Yeah, they don't get it everywhere, so I'm sure it's glad they're good. They're good to hear it. They're probably glad to see that occasionally.
Yeah, and I was watching Fox and Friends just a little bit ago. They had the Tunnel to Towers guy on, and they're going to pay off this guy's mortgage,
Right.
who's a corporal, and they wasted him in his police officer's car.
Yeah. Well, we lost a trooper in Delaware this weekend, or during the holiday season, which is just ridiculous. This stuff is just terrible.
I mean, and the Democrats all they do is continue to blame the guns when the guns are not the problem.
Yeah, that's a lot easier than looking at the real problems, isn't it? It's a lot easier.
Definitely. I mean, these Democrats are something else. They don't. They just don't
Right.
Listen to other points of view.
Well, they don't look at reality, and they look at a very narrow framework of what's really happening. I don't know if they want solutions, but they want support. They want people to rally around them, and they say the most ridiculous things at times, not logical.
They want to take away our guns is what they want to do.
Yep, and go to socialism, taxed, fair taxes like California. They want to pay your fair share type stuff, which all the businesses are leaving like crazy.
Yeah.
Even Frito-Lay shut down a plant over there a few months ago. We hear about the bigger ones. When they move, like some of the oil companies and the refineries that have shut down, which is a disaster. Actually, it's a real disaster for us.
Well, whoever's the next governor is going to have some kind of big problem that they inherited.
Well, the governor lives well. They have a nice house and they got support staff around them and security. Yeah, they're fine. They don't
Well,
really care about everything else, I don't think.
no, well, but that's true to a point. But hopefully, the next governor will be a Republican governor, and then he or she will get the support of the federal
Well,
government.
and that would be nice, but it's a long shot at very best. I mean, the the people that have left California would be the ones that would have voted for a Republican governor.
Well, that's a very good point. I didn't think about that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the people that are still there still thinks that they're just not given enough. They need to be given more.
well, if they got money to burn, God bless them.
Yeah. That and there's there's billionaires that are staying, tech industries. There's a lot of stuff that still hasn't left. SpaceX left, which was a big one,
Yep.
and some other big ones have left. But they still have a lot of billionaires left. They still have a lot of farming. But I tell you, they're hurting themselves badly.
Yes, they are.
They're spending like crazy and losing people.
What about the wine industry up north there? I wonder how that's going.
I don't know, but you can't really move the grapes. The grapes are going to be,
No, that would be something special.
yeah, they're going to grow there.
Yeah.
I don't know what those guys are doing or how well, but I imagine they're surviving just fine. But there's some of these other companies that are able to move, they're moving.
Yep. Okay. All right,
Thank
buddy.
you, man.
I'm gonna let you go. Okay.
You be good. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.
That was Danny this morning, wide awake. Comes to us from the East Coast also. They see this on Saturday. 800 flights were canceled across U.S. airports. JFK International. I hope you all got home, the ones that left. JFK International, LaGuardia Airport, Newark Liberty International Airport, over 50% of all delays in the United States on December 27th, just those three. Well, but they're back. I think Washington is 58 degrees today, 29 low. So they're all okay. JetBlue, Delta Airlines, 5,150 flights within, or out of the United States were delayed. Wow, that's not good. That was at a time when, according to the Transportation Security Administration, 44.3 million travelers will go through security checkpoints between December 19th and January 4th. That's the heaviest volume expected on December 28th. So we've already passed that. It's a record year, by the way, holiday travel, record year. But I think the rest of it will be good. So if you're traveling now, I think the worst of it is over, unless you're going up into Canada or something. Man, they're getting nailed with a lot of cold weather, a lot of bad stuff. The Trump Kennedy Center, that's a weird. And I don't know how you feel about that. That Trump's name is now on the Kennedy Center. Kennedy Center was, I think, started right after Kennedy was assassinated, like the year after, or whatever, as a memorial to Kennedy after his assassination. And now it's the Trump Kennedy Center, which I don't know how long that'll last. It made a lot of people angry, including Chuck Reed. Chuck Reed is a drummer and a jazz artist and all that kind of stuff. And he had a free holiday performance that was coming up, scheduled for December 24th. And I talked about the other day. He canceled it. And the reason he canceled it, he said, when I saw the name change on the Kennedy Center website, and then hours later on the building, I chose to cancel the concert. Well, which I'm sure some people on the left applauded him for all that and all that. But right now, the Kennedy Center is suing him for $1 million in damages because it was a canceled Christmas Eve performance, even though it was free. It was canceled, and that caused him some problems. But I would imagine if he was sick or something or injured, everybody would understand. But the fact that he came out and he did it as vindictiveness because he doesn't like Donald Trump and didn't like the name added to the Kennedy Center, I think he might be in trouble. According to the Trump Kennedy Center's Vice President of Public Relations, Roma Darby, any artist canceling their show at the Trump Kennedy Center over political differences isn't courageous or principled. They are selfish, intolerant, and have failed to meet the basic duty of a public artist to perform for all people. Art is a shared cultural experience meant to unite, not exclude. The Trump Kennedy Center is a true bipartisan institution that welcomes artists and patrons from all backgrounds. Great art transcends politics, and America's Culture Center remains committed to presenting popular programs that inspire and resonate with all audiences. Now, Trump's chairman of that, by the way. Yeah, he was elected as chairman by the board. And the board, by the way, he put them all in, which I guess he can do. He's president, so that's under his venue. And he replaced the board, which was very, very woke. And I think that he's a guy that likes the arts. Trump does, apparently. And the things playing at the Kennedy Center were not traditional stuff. It was more woke stuff, transgender stuff, whatever. And he was fed up with it and just replaced the whole board, including, I mean, the people on the board included the second lady, Usha Vance, White House Chief of Staff, Susie Wiles, White House Deputy Chief of Staff, Dan Scarvino, and Allison Litnick, the wife of the Commerce Secretary, Howard Litnick. So I guess he's got a lot of pull over there. He's got a lot of friends on the board. So imagine he gets to go out and enjoy the arts and enjoy the Kennedy Center and see what he would consider as something worth traveling for. Now, Trump says he was surprised by the renaming, put Trump's name on it. He says he's very honored by the renaming. The board is a very distinguished board, most distinguished people in the country, and I was surprised by it. I was honored by it. Representative Joyce Betty out of Ohio, she's a Democrat. She sued on December 22nd, sued the president and the Kennedy Center board of the trustees over the renaming, arguing that only Congress has the authority to rename it. They keep lawyers busy. And Trump does too. He keeps lawyers busy. Keeps them busy. I don't think, as far as him and being in court and sued and all that stuff, there's got to be some kind of record, probably. I would think. I don't know. I haven't looked that up, but there's got to be some kind of record. There's got to be some kind of record of him going to the Supreme Court alone. Of course, I think he's kind of forced into it because so many people fight against him, including the state of Arizona. The state of Arizona sues Trump all the time because Chris Mays is our attorney general, and she doesn't like Trump. She's a Democrat, and every time Trump does something, it's we'll sue you, and that's just the nature of things right now and the times we live in. There was a helicopter collision in New Jersey on December 28th. I think it was December 28th. It sounds, yeah, I think so. 11:25 in the morning. So over New Jersey, and that's just so odd to have helicopters run into each other. But one pilot died, and the other pilot, there was only one pilot on each helicopter. One died, and one's in the hospital with some critical injuries. Terrible thing. They're investigating it. We'll figure that out. But helicopters don't usually just run into each other. Let's take a phone call. You're on the air.
Hello, Russ. How you doing?
We're doing well, OG. Good morning.
Listen, do you recall what the national debt was back in 1969?
Oh, no, I don't have any recollection. I bet it was less than $1 trillion, probably. Oh, that was OG. I lost him. The national debt in 1969. Now I'm curious. I'm going to have to look it up. National debt. Let me see. 354 billion. That's right, less than a trillion. Like a third of it. Yeah, that was I did not know that off the top of my head. I wasn't very old in 1969. I was 12. But I knew it was it's reached astronomical levels by now. It has. I guess I lost OG. He's not calling back. Phone lines are open 928 344 5258. You've heard about the migrant truckers in recent times, and of course that stuff's bound to happen. As far as accidents go, and the people that have been killed on the highways and stuff, and a lot of the truck drivers were complaining about it, about the lack of professionalism and the lack of English language being spoken with the truckers. My brother's a truck driver, and nobody was listening. There were incidences, but no one was listening. And then the deaths. But Biden, of course, brought in more illegal aliens than anybody. Probably, I don't know what the record is, but I'm sure he surpasses it. Opened up the borders, flying them in, inviting them in, put an app out there so you could get in illegally with a reservation, which is comical. But that's what was going on. And we had so many people coming in. And then places like California, which were issuing CDLs, and that's licenses to fly trucks, to drive trucks, just without passing the test. I mean, and I know in these accidents where these people have died, they've given the drivers a test. They can't read the street signs. They don't understand the language. And Trump eventually just said, look, enough. We're going to make it a federal law, which the feds control the CDLs as far as requirements, which California does not follow. And they were issuing them. And of course, California and the feds have been having some disagreements about that. And Newsom finally cracked down on the thing. And probably because he was forced, but he's canceling a bunch of commercial driver's licenses, like 20,000 of them, for immigrant truckers that shouldn't have had them in the first place because they don't qualify. They don't meet the standards. Well, he's revoking them. Well, now California's being sued by that group. There's a couple of organizations, the Asian Law Caucus and the Sheik Coalition, along with the law firm Wheel, Goetschel, and Manges. They filed a lawsuit on Tuesday to stop California DMV from canceling the CDLs, which really puts California in a tough place. I think they have no choice because the federal government has clamped down on them to follow the rules. And now the locals who've grown used to California not following the rules are suing them because it's going to result in a mass work stoppage. And those cancellations are going to start on January 5th. That's just a week away or so. It's a little more than a week away. And of course, that's going to take a lot of truckers off the road. I don't know how much it affects the industry, but the class action lawsuit, and this was according to a statement from the two caucuses. The class action lawsuit is brought on behalf of the Chikara movement and 5 commercial drivers who have been deprived of their rights and livelihoods. Okay. And I think everyone deserves a livelihood and all that, but they're in the country illegal. They had no right to have that CDL in the first place. According to the reports from the San Francisco Chronicle, California state officials communicated that they would be reissuing licenses on December 17th. Despite these public assurances, the state has neither reissued any of the contested license nor created a process to remedy the date issue, with no indication that it plans to do so before January 5th. Lawsuit alleges that on November 6th, the California DMV notified 17,299 immigrant drivers and business owners that their non-domiciled CDLs would be canceled on January 5th, 2026, due to an error with the expiration date of the license. Similar letter was sent to an additional 2,700 drivers in December, informing them that their license would be canceled in mid-February. The The DMV is required to set the expiration date for a CDL given to an immigrant on either the same day or before the expiration of the driver's work authorization or legal presence documents, according to the lawsuit. However, the lawsuit alleges that DMV letters violated California procedure, which would require the department to either cancel the license without prejudice or change the expiration date. For all 19,999 immigrants, the DMV intends to cancel their commercial licenses without the affording any opportunity to obtain a corrected license or to contest the cancellation. Well, despite its own regulation, the DMV has not consistently ensured that the CDL's expiration date matched the end of the person's period of work authorization or lawful presence. I mean, that's according to the lawsuit. I mean, I'm looking at it and say, well, they have a procedure to reissue it or to cancel it on the expiration date of your ability to be in the country legally, but it doesn't say they can't cancel for other reasons, I don't think, but that's up to the lawyers to figure out. The DOT announced that the Golden State was planning to revoke 17,000 non-domicile CDLs. California Governor Gavin Newsom office pushed back on the DOT's assertion and admitted to illegally issuing the licenses. He admitted it. Let's take a phone call. You're on the air. Good morning. I think OG's having trouble. The lawsuit notes that the cancellation of the CDLs has a far-reaching impact. And this is where the law, the lawyers start getting into the far-reaching impact, like it's going to be bad for economy, bad for people, which I don't know if judges look into that at all, or if they're just following the law. But they said beyond the drivers themselves, saying drivers play an indispensable role in our local and national economies, providing essential services that communities rely on every day, including transportation, food, driving children to school. And that's just what I want. Driving children to school with somebody that can't really pass the test. I hope not. Delivering manufactured goods. The sudden loss of their ability to work threatens not only their livelihood, but also the stability of our supply chains and services on which the public depend. Neither the individuals nor our communities can sustain the harm that will occur if these drivers lose their licenses, careers, and economic stability. That's according to the lawsuit. Amazing they throw that in there. I don't know what grounds that has on the legal part of it, but they do. And then there's some stories out there about some of the plaintiffs. They don't even give their names. I guess they may be in the country illegal. They don't want to. Talking about when they received a letter the same day of his work authorization, the very document he's supposed to use to renew the license. Instead, it just said, you're not getting it. So they're complaining to the press. They know how to work the press, I guess. The lawsuit is calling on the judge to issue a writ of mandate preliminary injunction or permanent injunction that would require the California DMV to ensure the plaintiffs and those who fall into the class action obtain a corrected CDL. Let's take a phone call. You're on the air.
Hey, Russ, how you doing?
We're doing well, Gilbert. Good morning.
Good morning to you. Happy early New Year.
Oh, it's coming, isn't it? It's this week.
It's coming. Yep. Well, my funny for today.
Okay.
My humor for today.
All right.
Newsom has gotten really rich. Let me turn my radio down. Off all these money that he's making from the rail and all that. So are they going to sue Newsom personally, or they're suing California? Oh,
the people with these CDLs are suing California DMV. They're not suing Newsom.
Well, since he's the one that generated that, right? He's the one that
he's the governor. Yeah, but it's hard to sue somebody for doing their job. You can't, there's protections for somebody doing their job, assuming it's not criminal. Now he can't rob banks, but
wasn't it criminal to allow these guys to have CDLs without being able to speak the language or understand the traffic signs and stuff?
I would hope that it would be, But that's not the way it's being seen, and that would be up to the federal government to sue him. And I don't think they're suing him personally for that. They're just going to cut off funds. They're going to cut off funds.
Yeah, I understand our part. Then what's going to happen is they're going to try to sue the federal government because they are cutting off funds.
Oh yeah, they do that regularly. These states have been suing the federal government like it's just every day.
Right. Well, Arizona's good at that too.
I know. I'm kind of saddened by that whole thing.
Well, to me, they should sue. Is it Mays? Who's
Chris Mays? Yeah.
They ought to sue her and get it out of her pocketbook because it's the taxpayers that are paying for all these court costs.
Oh, and it's not small. That's not a small amount of money, buddy.
Exactly. And we didn't put them in there to sue the federal government every time they want to sue the federal government. We didn't do that.
Yeah.
But since it's somebody else's money,
right?
To me, anytime she loses, they lose. They should put it out of their own pocketbook. But on bigger things, how about Minnesota with all the daycares that they're finding out?
It's actually a very great story. It's a terrible story. It's horrific, but it's great that we've got some independent press out there because the mainstream press isn't going to do it. But some independent press that is knocking on daycare doors and says, "Where's the children?"
Isn't he? Well, I think he's 19. Was he 19 years old?
I don't know.
There's two of them. There's two of them. Actually, there's like three of them. Three different organizations doing it now. But the first one was very, very young.
Well, he's getting a lot of hits, and he's getting famous doing it. So it's Nick Shirley's the guy's name that was doing it.
Like 35 million hits already.
He's going viral like crazy. So a lot of people are going to jump on that. They said, well, we want to become famous on YouTube. Let's go do this.
And some of the videos that are coming out, the Somalians are they're getting violent. They're getting violent.
Well, they're not happy with Nick. They've been calling the cops on him. Did you know that? As soon as he comes in and knocks on the door, they're calling the cops.
Yeah, he is. But he's legal.
Yeah, he is.
As long as he's on the sidewalk.
Well, he can knock on the door and go in and ask them about their rates. They're a public service. It's like a store. Right. You can go in any daycare in Yuma, knock on the door and say, "Hey, I'd like to talk to you about your rates. How much to have a child here?" Anybody can do that. That's what he's doing, and they're calling the cops.
Yeah, but again, who allowed that to happen? Wasn't it Obama that brought all them Somalians in?
Oh, he added to it hugely. Yeah, he
was done. It was done before Biden.
Oh yeah,
He brought them all in,
right,
and taught them how to do all this. Now, all this, we're talking billions of dollars.
Yeah, they're rich now. Those Somalians. Somebody is in Somalia.
Yeah, and now they also have life care in homes. They're buying homes and saying, "Oh, these are for life care, for adult care."
Mm-hmm.
They're doing that also.
Oh, and they get money, federal money, grants, and all that stuff, and those things are going crazy nuts. I mean, the amount of escalation now is crazy because everybody starts doing it.
Yeah, well, what they're doing is they're buying homes with our tax dollars and turning them into these things and getting grants for these so-called homes.
It's got to go find some old people to take care of. That's all.
Yeah, but I saw some videos. These guys are pretty. I want to say they're violent. They're getting in their cameras.
Oh yeah, they have been. It's disrupting their livelihood. Their livelihood happens to be illegal and crooked and predatory, but it's still their livelihood. So they're going to take it, not very well when you knock on their door.
So, what are your feelings on going after George Soros now?
It's about time.
It is about time
because he's been funding hate for so long and disruption forever, and everyone thought he was untouchable. Now he owns a ton of NGOs, but those NGOs he'll open them up with some money to open them up, but then they apply for grants and he makes money on them, huge.
Right.
He's as bad as a Somalian.
Well, I think he's the one that's sending people into Samoa,
Yeah.
Minnesota. That's what I'm calling it now. Samoa in Minnesota.
Yeah, not
And-
Minneapolis, Mogadishu. Yeah.
Yeah, Mogadishu. And you know, the thing is, Russ, is they're bringing in the Muslim religion, which I don't have a problem with their religion. I'm not a Muslim. I'm a Christian.
Mhm.
And we've fought against each other for centuries, right, Russ?
Yep.
But, you know, not in my America. What do they say? When you come to America, you assimilate to American values? That's
Correct.
the word?
Well, that's the way
Right.
it's supposed to be.
Right. But now you're hearing Sharia law.
Yeah.
They want to push Sharia law. No.
Tell me if you know, what percentage of Minnesota do you think are Somalians? What percentage?
I would say probably, well, the figure I heard the other day was there's 80,000.
Right.
I would say probably 1.2, 1.5.
You're right.
maybe
You're right
2.
there. Yep. It's 1.5 to 2%. That's it for the whole. And they're the ones. And yet, all the people they've arrested for the fraud so far, 90% are Somalians.
Exactly.
90%. Yeah.
Exactly. That's again. Well, my whole thing was with all these illegal aliens that came in through Biden. He invited them in.
Right.
Are they illegal? Because he invited them in.
No,
maybe they're illegal because they didn't have any paperwork.
Well, they a lot of them came in on the app, and on the app,
right?
It didn't make them legally in the country, but it suspended any kind of actions or something somehow. I don't know the exact legal terminology, but it didn't make them legal. It just gave them the opportunity to come in and you get a reprieve or some kind of time before they come after you. I don't know. It's a stupid thing. It's a stupid thing.
That app again, NGOs. Someone helped Biden create that, and then the NGOs helping them, but none of them people got vetted.
Oh no!
That came with the applications.
No, Mayorkas always said that they were vetted. What he meant by that was we know their name. That's about it. I mean, they never vetted like what we would consider vetting somebody.
Well, I know, Russ. You know that I've been in the border and I picked up garbage bags filled with all sorts of IDs.
Oh man,
the IDs were on the ground, so when they came over there, they could use any name they wanted.
Yeah, I found passports down there and a lot of paperwork and stuff down there.
The passport, the picture was taken out. It was ripped off.
Oh, I had some with pictures and everything, but
did you?
Yeah, I had them from Cuba, Argentina.
Yeah.
I had paperwork from Russia where they had their COVID vaccination shots.
Right.
All kinds of stuff.
They all traveled on foot, right? 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 miles through the jungle.
I think they traveled the last 50 feet on foot. Other than that, I think they did something else.
Yeah, but some of the guys that I'm talking to investigating, not investigating, but just asking, and I'm looking at the fingernails and their real, and their feet and their hair. Yeah. So we got a big problem ahead of us. And if we don't straighten it out, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be speaking different languages.
ICE is doing the hard work. And I tell you, it's going to take years because there's so many that came in. And this just built and built and built. It's like the fire ants. You don't know you're in the middle of it till the first one bites you. And we're being bit right now, with deaths on the highways, the fraud, all kinds of stuff.
Russ, the real problem why it's going to take so long is all the court system. All the rigged court system that's fighting America to save itself. That's why it's going to take so long. There's a lot of them.
There's just so many people.
It's the court system that we have here. Look at Mayor Bass from California. She's upset because Hispanics are asking for jobs with the Border Patrol and ICE. Can you imagine Hispanics asking for jobs for ICE and the Border Patrol?
There's a lot of ICE and Border Patrol that are Hispanic. That's a great. It's a great job. Protect our country, man.
I know that, but Bass is upset with the Hispanics that are applying for those jobs.
I didn't know that, but that's just ridiculous.
Oh yeah.
She obviously hasn't looked at the Border Patrol because they're more diverse than she thinks, though. She thinks
Of course she has, but it's a racial thing.
Yeah.
It's calling these guys Uncle Toms.
Yeah.
She's basically calling these guys Uncle Toms because they're looking for jobs with the Border Patrol and ICE.
Well, she's framing them as enemies. You're the enemy of the country if you're a Border Patrol, which is terrible.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But we need to pay attention to this Sharia law crap. I mean, Texas has done it already. I believe Florida has. But the fact that they want to come in here and do that, no, you do what Americans do, are American laws. And that's what they need to. And I'm cracking up with the LGBT alphabet, whatever, gay pride in them. They love all that stuff. They don't realize they are killed in those countries.
Yeah. Oh, no, they don't. They don't.
They don't what?
They don't understand it. Just like you say, they don't understand that, why they're supporting, Palestinians and stuff from the gay pride. They would be thrown off a building in Palestine.
Yeah. Or heads cut off. Yeah. But then again, you got someone that come over here, married her brother, right?
Yeah.
Isn't she Muslim?
Omar. Yeah.
Yeah. She's Muslim, right?
Yeah, but the marrying of the brother was strictly to get around immigration.
But the fact that that's incest.
Yeah.
And what happens to people that do incest in those countries?
Well,
they are executed.
Yeah, I don't think they're treated well. But they probably won't care because, they probably know it was just an arranged marriage to get somebody in. They probably applaud her for breaking the laws of the evil country. They don't like our country. They don't like it at all. They're here to pillage it. I don't think they're here to belong to it.
To me, being me, anytime I see somebody that is talking crap about America, that are from Somalia and down with America, they should be put in a plane right there and then and sent out. We're no, I'm tired of this. I'm tired. We need to get back to America. Well, so with that, Russ, I'm going to let you go and let the old man get in, call you.
I don't know if his phone's working, man. Take care, buddy. Yeah. All right, man.
All right,
bye-bye. Bye. That was Gilbert. So we brought up the Sharia law thing, so I have to look it up because I know Sharia law is talked about a lot in the United States. I don't think it exists as a law, so I looked it up real quick. And this is off, just artificial intelligence, but Sharia law isn't a separate enforceable legal system in the United States, but its principles are recognized in some private matters like contract disputes or family law when parties agree, acting as context or evidence, not superseding American law. While some states have tried to ban Sharia or foreign laws, U.S. courts already prioritize the Constitution, and the debate centers on whether to prevent using religious principles even as context, with opponents calling these bans discriminatory and unnecessary. Private life. Muslims in the U.S. use Sharia for personal guidance or finance, avoiding interest, marriage, and funerals, but these don't conflict with U.S. law. U.S. judges might refer to Sharia to understand contract obligations or cultural intent, but it's only as evidence, not a primary legal source. Sharia principles can appear in U.S. commercial contracts, wills, and divorce settlements when individuals agree to its terms, which sounds right to me, where these organizations are implementing some Sharia context, but it's in, like that says, contracts or divorces or whatever agreements, but it doesn't change the U.S. law. It's still the overriding law. Let me take a break and we'll be right back. AM 560 KBLU.
A mix of clouds and sun today with a high of 71 and strong winds out of the north at 15 to 25 miles per hour today. Partly cloudy, breezy tonight with a low of 58, mainly cloudy and windy on Tuesday, high of 73, cloudy and 58 on Tuesday night.
The Desert Lily Annual Quilt Show is coming Friday and Saturday, January 9th and 10th at the Yuma Civic Center with hundreds of beautiful quilts and wearable art items on display. See the special quilt celebrating America's 250th birthday. There'll be items for sale at the country stores and a fat quarter basket drawing. Admission is just $8. Buy tickets for your chance at winning the Love in a Mist quilt. Proceeds to benefit the Hanson House. The Desert Lily Annual Quilt Show, January 9th and 10th at the Yuma Civic Center. Don't miss it.
You still thinking job change in the new year?
Yeah, I need something that's in high demand and more stable in this economy.
IT?
Yeah, cybersecurity, maybe even AI.
That's what I did.
Really? How?
Went to My Computer Career. You don't need any prior experience, and you could start your new career in a matter of months. A lot of IT pros go to school there, too, to level up.
Sweet. Are classes online or on campus?
Both.
Wow, I'll check it out. Thanks.
Make this your year. Take the free career evaluation now at mycomputercareer.edu, an Elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
You still thinking job change in the new year?
Yeah, I need something that's in high demand and more stable in this economy.
IT?
Yeah, cybersecurity, maybe even AI.
That's what I did.
Really? How?
Went to My Computer Career. You don't need any prior experience, and you could start your new career in a matter of months. A lot of IT pros go to school there, too, to level up.
Sweet. Are classes online or on campus?
Both.
Wow, I'll check it out. Thanks.
Make this your year. Take the free career evaluation now at mycomputercareer.edu, an Elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
To be a part of Russ's show, call 928-344-5258. That's 928-344-5258.
Hey, I'm Mike Slater. My dad passed away at the age of 63. It's out of nowhere. Had a stroke. Super hard, obviously, for the whole family, but my dad had life insurance. This is why I have life insurance for my family, for my wife and 4 kids. And the best place to get life insurance is ethos.com because you can do it in 10 minutes. And there's no medical exam and no blood test, just a few health questions. Get life insurance in 10 minutes so your family is protected. Ethos, E-T-H-O-S, ethos.com/Mike.
There's a man in D.C.
AM 560 KBLU, Russ Clark with you, and the phone lines are open. 928-344-5258. Food prices. A lot of talk about food prices, of course, with the elections coming up next year or 3 days. Next year's 3 days, but next year, there's going to be a lot of talk about affordability. Affordability is the new buzz for the Democrats. All of a sudden, they're looking at something that works, and open borders didn't work. Hiring illegals doesn't work. Hating police officers doesn't work. Rioting against ICE doesn't work. So he said, well, let's try affordability. And it works well in New York. Mandani just said like a Pied Piper, affordability, the socialist way. We'll just give it to you and force it on you. So they're going to be, they've been beating up on Trump saying you're going to lower food prices. And he lied. He's not lowering it. It's more expensive today than it was, which is true. It is more expensive. The inflation has lowered under Biden. It reached 9%. So much higher. The inflation is below 3. I don't know what it is, 2.7, 2.8. I'm not sure. But the inflation on food is 2.6. And compare that to Canada and the United Kingdom at 4.2, Japan's at 6 percentage points. And in Europe, it's at 2.4, very close to the United States in Europe zone, which is interesting. But even though it's at 2.6, and this is after less than a year, Trump's been in less than a year, and he at 2.6, and there's a couple things that are really keeping it up, and that's beef and coffee prices. They had some climate-related issues on coffee, bad crops, whatever. Prices went up. And beef, for some reason, our herds are way down, and there's a problem there with the beef prices for sure. So this article I'm looking at is an investment article talking about next year, what government policies and all that kind of stuff. Well, government policies have added to Japan's problem, United Kingdom problem, and all that. But for us, we're not looking bad. We're going to there's going to be a spike in food inflation starting at the 26 and expected to be just temporary, linked to base effects from the holiday, but that's about it. So we're expected, to have decent food prices and lower inflation on food prices. I don't know if it's enough because it's not going to be zero, and I think zero is what the Democrats are demanding right now. And they didn't demand it under Biden when things got completely out of control. Nobody said anything, but they're demanding it now. I think that's their strategy is affordability going in. Like Biden jacked up the prices for everything. They put a hang it on Trump and say that that's why you need to change the House and the Senate because Trump is responsible, which is ridiculous, but it doesn't have to make sense. It just has to work, in the politics. Unfortunately, that's what we're living with. I'm talking about lawsuits a little bit. Trump's been involved in a lot of them, which he has. He gets sued regularly. Trump administration and Trump personally, it's been going on since he came down the elevator. Anything to stop Trump, and this is just personal attacks because of politics. Donald Trump has had a problem with California, which he should for some time. Sanctuary state, train to nowhere, and that train to nowhere is the high speed train. Actually, who coined that phrase was. Or at least just talked about it before I knew of anybody else talking about it, was Gavin Newsom himself. He coined it in a speech when he was making changes to the train. It was no longer going to go to San Francisco, to Sacramento, to L.A. and all that stuff. It was just going to go to Bakersfield and let me see, because they couldn't get it done. Where's it going? Just Baker. I forget exactly where it's going, but man, I had it written down here somewhere. But it's not going to go as it was originally designed. Merced, and Bakersfield. That's it for right now. So he said, some people complain that it's a train to nowhere, but that's rude. That was his speech. Way back when. Let me take a phone call. You're on the air.
It would go again, Russ.
How are you, sir? Good morning.
Listen, I got to upgrade from my 3G to I guess my 5G phone, huh?
Yeah.
They're bumping me. But anyway, I started out talking about the debt, but the real story is in Minnesota.
Okay.
Yeah, and you probably agree that elected officials reflect the attitudes and mentality of their districts.
I absolutely agree.
Okay. And that is exactly true. There's 108,000 Somalians living in her district.
Okay.
And those are eligible voters now. And now I understand that 80,000 of them voted for her, for Ilhan Omar.
All right. They still only represent 1.5% to 2% of all of Minnesota. They're still small, but they have great power.
No, I don't think. I think it's more than that. I think the media is lying to you because the only thing I could find was from no other media except CNN, and I'm looking at that page right now.
All right.
I couldn't find anything ABC, NBC, CBS. They didn't cover it. Mm-hmm. But CNN, yeah, because they're a communist network. You know that.
Yeah.
Because their mission is to take down our Constitution. And CNN's mission, I'll say again, is to take down this country. And that's why Trump is totally got a wall up against them. And they've got to change. But anyway, in 2017, Ilhan Omar, she was elected in 2017 in Minnesota. And she spews exactly the sentiments that her district and most of her other voters represent.
Sure.
And they don't like this country. And what they're trying to do, if people are not careful, Minnesota is fastly becoming an Islamic state, is what it is. And that's the dangerous. We already have 10 states. We had 10 states that began the Civil War that had already seceded from the Union before Lincoln ever took office. A lot of people think they seceded after Lincoln took office, but that is a freaking lie. They were lost. When Lincoln got elected, there were 33 states, and there was a 34th one trying to get in, and that was Kansas. Today, we got 10 states that's already taken over by the communists. Now, in Illinois, let me see if I can find my note. In Illinois, there's about 4 major corporations left, and I've lost my doggone note. Wow. I was hoping that maybe you could help me out, but I'll find them later on. But the major companies, I think Boeing relocated to Virginia.
Yeah, Caterpillar moved out.
Yeah, Caterpillar. Yeah, that's one of the four major. Caterpillar, and they went to Texas, I think.
Yeah, wasn't McDonald's one of them?
I don't know, but TR or something TRI or something like that was another major company. They employed like 80,000 employees, I think. Yeah. And that's where the communists are doing this. 10 states, folks, are controlled by the communists. And the war is begun, and you better get into the game, I'm saying, because the media is not telling you what's going on in Denver. Denver, you got 32,000 people that have jobs that can't afford the rent because of the national debt depressed the dollar bill. The rent, I understand, begins any kind of an apartment is like $1,700 to $2,700. No one can afford that.
Yeah.
And they got cars, trucks, campers, and the cops are harassing the hell out of these people that have jobs. These are Americans that are working, trying to pay taxes, and your own damn cops are against them. They got a 3-day parking permit, and then they have to move every 3 days in Denver to maintain a job, or they starve to death. Now, these are broken states, folks. There's 10 of them. You better count them up. And one of them is Colorado, Washington, and Oregon, and California, New York. I could go on, but you need to look them up yourself. But well, you do, because if it's free, look at the handouts. We got 59% of the people of the workforce that are only working. Nobody else is working. Only 59% of the work class is supporting all this crap. The money is not being paid back. That's why the debt keeps rising. And the debt depresses your dollar. And everybody's bitching about inflation. Well, folks, it's your fault. It's who it is. And I know you're going to flip the midterms because you're pissed off at Trump. You're going to flip them, and you're going to get digital currency. And buddy, are you in trouble? That's the end game. Digital currency is the ultimate controller of human behavior. For instance, everything's computerized. If you got sugar diabetes and you go to Fry's and you try to buy cake for your granddaughter, it's going to be declined because you got diabetes. It's all going to be tied together. You won't know what misery is. You need to go to China. Japan is already on Bitcoin. Yeah, Bitcoin. Japan is. China is implementing digital currency right now because it's easier to control your sorry butts. It really is. And because I don't know, Russ. I'm nothing without my notes here. Like I said,
I'm sorry.
84, and I feel dementia coming on me. I really do.
You can't hide digital currency under your mattress either. You know.
No.
Know where it is.
No. You remember reading stories where the old homeless lady, the bag lady, when she died, and they went to her little tiny living quarters, like in New York, and they found like $1 million in coins that she had squandered away, hoarded away. You read those stories, remember? Well, those days will be gone.
Yeah, then along with soap scraps and everything else, they're frugal people.
And I have boxes of money that I've earned over my life right now. And those days will be gone. This is why I fear digital currency. And people, if you've got no money, here's how they're going to get you. They're going to offer all these idiots with no money. That's 99%ers I'm talking about. They're going to offer all those people more money than they've ever seen in their life because most of them don't even have $200 to defray an emergency car repair.
You're right about that.
They're going to offer them $5,000 as a start off, as a deposit. Just like these checks that they're looking for right now. They want these, what do you call them? They want checks like these. Like during COVID, they gave them some kind of checks, supplementary.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, They gave him like $600. Well, people right now, they're looking for $2,000. And I see all these comments where they're mad at Trump because he's not sending them like $2,000. Well, folks, I hope you don't get it. You don't need it. You need to come and clean my house. I can't even get a house painter and trust them when they're stealing my freaking stuff.
Oh, yeah. You got to be careful.
Yeah, hey. I've got implanted in a countertop, those Indian head 1929 gold pieces, gold coins.
Oh, man, be careful.
Yeah. Well, I've got about 30 of them implanted in my countertop, in epoxy. I mean, in that, I forget what you call it. It's a clear, like like a plastic glue.
Yeah.
And to hold them down.
Right.
Hey. Yeah. And I've seen people in my own company with a pocket knife trying to chip one of them.
Hey, I'm running out of time, my friend. Okay. I got to run. Right. Thank you, sir.
Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye. That was OG. I'll be back. AM 560 KBLU.
This is News Talk 560 KBLU, Yuma.
Another Trump attempt to stop Russia's war in Ukraine. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
Everybody wants peace, but just peace.
That's Ukraine's leader Volodymyr Zelensky after meeting with President Trump at his Mar-a-Lago resort in Florida, discussing a U.S.-brokered peace plan that would include security guarantees for Ukraine.
I think we're doing very well. We could be very close. There are one or two very thorny issues, very tough issues, but I think we're doing very well. We made a lot of progress today.
One of those thorny issues, who gets what land being fought over? Zelensky talked to Fox's Brett Baer after the sit-down.
That's the hard part.
Yeah.
Is the territory.
Yeah.
That's the hard part.
Yeah.
So how do you get to yes?
Zelensky says Ukrainians oppose giving up the Donbas region to Russia.
It will be big risks for Ukraine, not acceptable by Ukrainians, but they will, just personally. And referendum will not be positive.
You can watch that interview on Fox's Special Report, 6 p.m. Eastern. Russian leader Vladimir Putin, who also had a phone call yesterday with President Trump, told generals today, according to Reuters, it's necessary to continue the war, trying to take over the Ukrainian city of Zaporizhia, where a nuclear power plant is. Today, President Trump will hold talks with another leader on another conflict. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu goes to Mar-a-Lago.
They'll reportedly discuss the future of the Gaza peace deal. Netanyahu will also give Trump an update on Iran and its ballistic missile program. And it all comes as Iran's president is saying they're in a full-fledged war with the U.S., Israel, and Europe, saying they don't want his country to be stable.
That's Fox's Madison Scarpino. China is flexing its muscle near Taiwan, doing military drills with the Army and Navy all around the island it considers Chinese territory.
The move from China comes in response to U.S. arms sales to Taiwan in a statement from Japan's prime minister, who says his country's military could get involved if China were to take forcible action against Taiwan.
That's Fox's Ryan Schmelz. America's listening to Fox News.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime.
Our entry-level data plans start at just $20 a month. And for a limited time, switch and get your second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com or a store near you and get your second month free today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional details.
My name is Whitney Allen. I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought in a million years we'd have to use life insurance. The unexpected happened. With Ethos, it is so fast and easy. It's 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage, no medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage through Ethos.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ethos.com/term. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions.
From the News 11 Information Desk, I'm Madeline Murray. The first 2 days of the Holiday Heroes Blood Drive happened over the weekend. Just one donation is enough to save lives, and that's exactly what Vitalant aimed to do over the weekend. Vitalant says each single donation can save at least 3 lives. Donations this weekend are distributed throughout the state of Arizona, expanding the amount of lives saved. One blood donation means another life saved, and the drive will run from December 27th through December 29th, starting at 9 a.m. And the annual Christmas tree recycling program is back in the city of Yuma. The free program started December 26th and will operate from 6 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. and will run until January 4th. Residents may drop off live Christmas trees free of charge at the northeast corner of the Yuma Civic Center parking lot. The program only accepts live trees. All ornaments, lights, tinsel, and decorations must be removed before drop-off. Catch us on the TV side on News 11 every weekday at 5, 6, and 10 p.m. for your latest local news, weather, and sports.
At Exceptional Community Hospital, we are redefining what emergency care should feel like. Fast, personal, and compassionate. Our experienced ER physicians and staff are here 24/7 to care for your unexpected illness or injury. Don't wait for emergency care when you can be seen in minutes. With short wait times, you'll get the prompt attention you need because every minute matters. And if your recovery takes longer, we provide the inpatient care you deserve. Exceptional Community Hospital. Compassionate care. Exceptional service.
There's a man in D.C. He stands 6'3". He's fighting for you.
AM 560 KBLU, Russ Clark with you. And I have on the phone Jonathan Townsend Alexander. Good morning, sir.
Well, good morning, Russ. How are you doing?
Man, I'm curious what you're up to. You know, for the longest time, you patrolled the border and gave us news and took video of incidences all during Joe Biden's era. It's pretty boring on the border now.
Well, you know, it's interesting you say that, Russ. We have been down to the border recently. We've gone up and down that border sector in Yuma, Tucson sector as well. And our borders, we're not seeing the military down there at all. We came across one border patrol agent in about a 100-mile radius.
Wow,
which is pretty strange because normally, when I drive that border, we come across probably 20 border patrol agents. And when I talked to the border patrol agent, I said, "Where's your military?" He goes, "Well, you just can't see them." That was his response.
A lot of times the military is inside the buildings, manning the cameras and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But for what we're seeing right now on the borders, they are still coming through on the tribal lands. That's something that I think the Trump administration is going to need to address one way or another.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's where they're flowing through. I know Sheriff Wilmot down there in the Yuma sector can tell you that as well. They're still coming through.
At the Kokopah tribe, there's no fencing right there. Although, my understanding, the Kokopah tribe was working with the Border Patrol and you know about the possibility of erecting that before Biden took over. And then Biden took over, and it was all out the window.
Yep, and that's where it's at. It's out the window right now. Their tribal council has absolutely said no border wall is going in place, and it kind of makes you wonder, Russ. I mean, this is where my mind goes. You know, the cartel, the Sinaloa cartel, has a stronghold on these tribal lands, and that's even the Tucson sector.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what they're doing is they're paying the tribal council off, is what I think. Because when I have spoke to a lot of the people that live on the tribal land, the people want this. When you talk to them, Russ, these people want the border wall.
Some of them do.
They're tired of their people dying from fentanyl, from being human trafficked, from being raped, everything in the book. But the tribal council kind of looks like what we had to deal with Joe Biden. It doesn't matter what the people want. The tribal council is going to do as they please. And that's where they're at.
I certainly haven't spoken with any of them, and that's interesting. No, I'd like to hear it from them if that were true, but I don't know where they stand.
Tell you what, we've got a border tour that we're going to be giving here in January. if you'd like to come with us down to the Tucson sector, we're going to be meeting with the tribal land people.
Oh, really?
And that will give you an opportunity to hear it for yourself and the broadcast.
That's the Odom tribe down there or something?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And Daniel Gutierrez can tell you what I'm telling you is 100% accurate as well. One of the things I want to get out there today, Russ, I'm very disappointed in our elections.
Okay.
You know, you look at Florida. Right now, they got the first Democrat mayor in over 30 years in Florida.
In Miami.
Why? Yeah, because American people didn't get off their butts and get out and vote. They didn't even have 20% Republicans. I looked at all the statistics on the election.
Yeah.
Not even 20% Republicans went out and voted. That's why we lost.
Yeah.
Same thing down in Yuma, in Tucson. You know, people are griping about Adelita Grajava in what she's already doing. Well, let's get real clear about this. If you guys go to Arizona, the voters board, and take a look at the numbers, not even 20 or 25% Republicans got off their butts and went out and voted that night in the special election.
Yeah.
How can we get our state back if us as Republicans aren't even getting out and doing our job?
You know,
that's my question.
Yeah, unfortunately, you know, those numbers are not strange for special elections, something like that. It's for some reason there's no one gets to rally too many, including Democrats and Republicans.
But I'm amazed. Yeah. And the reason why I'm amazed at this is because you look at how many years Grajava had control over Arizona. What was it? Over 30 years. And if you look at that, and people were sick of Grajava.
Yeah.
And now Adelita Grajava's daughter takes power because obviously people weren't sick of it enough.
Yeah.
And that's my attitude.
Probably. And, you know, that district has twice as many Democrats registered as Republicans. It is a district that was kind of gerrymandered to be pro-Democrat.
Right. Well, they're saying if we even had like 40% Republicans would have gotten out and voted, Daniel Gutierrez would have been in office.
No, you're not wrong. You're absolutely right. I mean, that could have been overcome by you know, just having the numbers out there. But
yeah, and so I think our Republican parties need to do more to really push those kind of elections as well, to really get it out there to people how important this is. And I know Daniel Gutierrez is running again. And,
yes, he's running continuously. He's been running for a while, and he's not stopping. I talked to him the other day. He's going.
And more power to Dan. But here's the thing. If the American people aren't going to work to try to make a change for Arizona by getting out there, getting their friends, getting everybody on board to vote, how are we ever going to win Arizona? That's the $1 million question.
Well, we are getting more and more numbers, more and more registration, and it's not like nothing's happening. But you're right. There's a lot that's on the table that isn't active, for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, did you make it down to the American Fest? I didn't see you down there.
Man, I'd like to have, but no, I have like a job. I would like to have been there. It looked great, and I saw a lot of the video and stuff. It would have been quite the rally, and we need to continue those kinds of things. And we're very fortunate they're in Arizona, man, and that's a good thing.
Well, we actually covered the American Fest there for 4 days, and it was an amazing event. And again, I was very impressed to see so many young people getting involved. You know, it gives me hope for this country when I see that.
Well, and I know that Charlie Kirk, when he was alive, you know, obviously from Arizona, here in Arizona, he had Arizona on his sights. You know, he wanted to really continue to work in the state of Arizona. And I'm so happy to hear that Eric is going to continue that, and they're going to get back out and start doing colleges again.
Yeah,
with the Prove Me Wrong program of you doing speeches and open mics and stuff like that. That's great.
Yeah, my fear is for Erica because she's such an outspoken woman as well. You know, I'm kind of concerned they're going to try to target her next. And
we didn't really know her because Charlie ran everything,
Right.
Yeah, didn't know her, and it's
starting to know her.
yeah. We know her now. We do know her now. What a strong, very, very, very strong lady.
Yeah, she's a very strong lady. She's very much a fighter, and she's not going to back down, just like her husband wouldn't back down.
Well, that's great, and we're very fortunate to have that organization here, and I hope it makes a difference for some of the things you're talking about. Is getting a younger vote out there and getting more people engaged with the truth, and getting more conversation going, and that's where Charlie had the courage, was to go into those cancel culture areas where nobody was welcome, but he went in anyway, and he started winning people over.
Now that we're on that topic about discussions, let's get into a real quick discussion, and I'll let you go.
Okay.
What's it going to take, do you think, here in America for us to start seeing mass arrests of these corrupt politicians and, like Tim Walz and these other people? We have seen, I am so disappointed in the system right now. I've got a good friend, Tina Peters. She was a Gold Star mom, been incarcerated out there in Colorado. They keep putting her in isolation and everything in the book, And here's a mom that stood up to try to end election fraud, exposed a lot of it. And there's a lot more to be exposed on what happened in Colorado.
Right.
And they're doing everything they can to silence those people that are coming forward. And, but yet we see people like Tim Walz, where they got all these billions of dollars that went to these illegal Somalians.
I don't think we've uncovered it all yet, but Jonathan,
not even close.
I agree with you that we all want to see more people arrested, but I think we also need to be careful and not be overzealous and go at it. I think this exposure right now that's getting worldwide, nationwide on Tim Walz is better for us than if he were in handcuffs. I think it's better. I think it's better to see him exposed and stumbling and trying to explain himself. And it's torturous. He probably would be thankful to be incarcerated, because then he'd be a martyr at that point. He would talk about political retaliation. This has nothing to do with anything else. So I would hope that their due diligence is done completely. If somebody needs to be arrested, by all means, let's do it, including Ilhan Omar or something, if she's engaged with some of this fraud. But I think if we go too fast and don't get the knowledge of what's really going on, there's a chance of it blowing up in our face. And so I appreciate that. But I think now with this reporter that went into Minnesota and started knocking on the doors, I just heard that he had 75 million now. People have watched his videos where he's knocked on doors, and that's at Nick Shirley. Nick Shirley is out there doing what the press should be doing.
Exactly.
And investigating and knocking on doors. And he's being a polite gentleman, if you watch the videos I have. And he's being polite about it. And he's knocking on doors, asking for rates. And Somalians are harassing him, calling the cops on him and all that, saying he's trespassing. Really, it's a place of business. He can knock on a door and ask for a price. So he hadn't been arrested or anything.
Yeah.
But we need more people. Pardon me?
Yeah, Nick Shirley was out there at the America Fest.
Oh, he was. Okay.
Oh, you bet he was.
But I think his prominence and his noteworthiness is going to spur on more people to do the same. People that have that talent, have that skill, and are willing to knock on a door and do all that. I think we're going to see more of that. And that exposure, I think, does more. Those 75 million people that listened does more to really understand the political issues between the left and the right, and what's really going on, and why we need to have some common sense. Because that theft of $9 billion, if it is that much, they're saying $1 to $9 billion now. If that affects us all, I mean, that's money that could have gone to something to push us all forward, to pay off debt, to do all kinds of things that is strangling us. And we need more of that, and it's going to be in the hands of these private guys, because the mainstream press refuses to do anything other than alibi a Tim Walz.
Right. Well, that's one thing Nick Shirley did expose. Out there, he went to all these daycare centers, to where supposedly, these Somalians are getting paid millions of dollars for the daycare centers they all started up. Mm-hmm. And and not one daycare had a child in it.
Yes.
They were all empty.
In fact, they interviewed neighbors that lived there for many years. It says, have you ever seen a child dropped off or picked up? Says, no, I didn't even know it was a daycare.
Yeah. I'm so proud of that young man for getting out there and exposing this, because he's putting his life in harm's way by doing what he's doing as well.
Just like Charlie Kirk did.
Oh,
Absolutely he is. But the willingness
of...
like
all this, Russ, the more we expose, the more they want us silent. You know,
that's
kind of like you.
Of course.
The more you're getting out there, the more people want you silenced.
Of course.
And I've been targeted.
Of course.
But at the same time, we got a job to do, and we got to get the truth out there to America.
Because you're going after people's livelihoods. Their livelihood happens to be criminal activity, but it's still their livelihood. And the last thing they want is exposure.
You bet.
They don't. So it is dangerous. And I just thank God for people like you, like Charlie Kirk, like this Nick, that are going out and facing that stuff, unafraid to go out and ask the questions and put a mic up and ask what's going on. And I hope to see that expand. And the fact that he got 75 million views, there's so many YouTube people would like to have that.
Right.
Probably going to have more people doing it.
Hey, Russ, love to bring you on our talk show sometime on Jonathan and Julie D in the morning that we do on Your News Arizona. Love to have you on our talk show. Love to bring you down to the border with us, have you come on down, and you can talk with the tribal council with us, because we're going to be getting a lot out there to the American people, and we're trying to put pressure on the tribal council to get something done for our borders.
I'm happy to do it, Jonathan.
That is where they're still coming through, especially down in the Tucson sector. And it's got to get stopped, because once we stop that, and one last thing, Russ, I'm going to get off the phone. We've got to focus on the No More Death Camp out there at the Arabach, Arizona. It's been a cartel ran, it's humanitarian funded out of Yuma and Tucson as well. The Catholic Charities has been helping fund it. It's a human trafficking camp. Mark Lamb is working with me as well, trying to get it shut down. We're sick of it. Border Patrol just raided them again, not even, I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago, and they're fully operational again.
Wow.
And enough has gotten to be enough for Arizona. We got to shut that down. That's affecting the Jim Chilton Ranch as well. That's where the cartel goes right through the Chilton Ranch on the way to the No More Death Camp for all their food and water supplies that they get before they hike up in the 3 Points, Arizona. We're doing our best to get it shut down permanently, and we're trying to ask Tom Holman to really focus on the No More Death Camp here in Arizona, because it needs to be shut down.
I'd be happy to talk with you about it next time you're in town or whatever, and I'd go out with you. And God bless you for what you do, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, God bless you, Russ. Appreciate it, and Happy New Year to all you guys out there.
Take care, man. Bye-bye. Of course, that was Jonathan Townsend Alexander. He's been on the border for many years now, does podcasts and things, and much like this Nick guy that's been out there, and Nick Shirley, that's doing it up in Minnesota right now. And this thing's effective. They're doing what CNN, CBS, and those guys won't do. I know some of the conservative stations will have Nick on and discuss it with him and find out. But others are going to put their head in the sand and they don't want to know. They don't want to know what's going on. Phone lines are open, 928-344-5258. I started talking about the California rail, high-speed rail. And I looked at some of the history, just some of the history on that high-speed rail. They started talking about, high-speed rail back in 1996. Putting that in. That was when they started the real authority to put it together, high-speed authority, put it together. In 2008, they put a ballot out there. On the ballot, they put Proposition 1 or 1A to start funding it. They decided that it was time to start funding some of the planning, funding, all that stuff. And the voters voted for it. It was only 52%. It didn't win by landslide, but 52% was healthy. You don't need a recount at that. 52.62%, actually. And that was put about $9.95 billion with a promise that there was going to be high-speed rail between San Francisco to LA and stuff like that. and it was going to cost about 40 to 50 billion. And I don't remember the exact miles, but it was hundreds of miles of track that they were talking about for 40 to 50 billion. Well, things haven't gone as planned, obviously. Typical California, I guess, but getting the land, getting it all done, wasn't going to happen. So the projects keeps paring down. I mean, at one time it was supposed to be 776 miles of high-speed rail. Right now, or I don't even know, well, originally it was 800 miles in 1996, they said 800. Some of the design stuff, they said 776. Right now there's 171 under design. Of course, the initial estimates was 40 to 50 billion for the whole project of 800 miles when they were talking early on from a train doing 220 mile an hour. Well, by February of 2020, the estimate grew to $80 billion at much fewer miles. 2019, Newsom conceded that they couldn't do it. They couldn't open it up, L.A. to San Francisco. They're just not possible right now. You couldn't do it. So in a speech in 2019, he changed it to Merced to Bakersfield, which wasn't very many miles. Was that 80 miles, 90 miles? I don't know. And the price keeps going up. Right now they have, I think, 80 miles of platform, no track. But I think they have 80 miles of gate, what they call guideway. They got 171 miles under design. They've had it under design for many, many years. It's still under design. They got 80 miles of guideway. Guideway just means they've got the pads for the track laid, 80 miles of it. And they had some bridges or some elevated areas to do, and they got some of that done. They've spent, I don't know. I didn't take notes on that. It was south of 20 billion. It wasn't 20 billion, but it was south of that. And Trump tried to claw back some of the money that was given to him because the thing is terribly mismanaged. Doesn't seem to be going anywhere. There's not a foot of track laid yet. And they've spent tons of money and continuing to do so. And they can't get the property. They can't get the ability to get into San Francisco, LA. So they're just talking about Merced to Bakersfield. It's almost like we're keeping it alive because we got payroll or people are making money on it or something. I mean, that's just a guess. I have no idea. I don't know. Bakersfield to Merced's going to be a big deal for them to go 200 miles an hour at how many billions and billions of dollars. But they're still working on it. But Trump pulled back $4 billion in federal funding. Not that they already gave him. He just wasn't going to pay it. He said no. And that was Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy said in July that he was pulling the plug on the long delayed project, calling it a boondoggle. He said, this is California's fault. Governor Newsom and the complicit Democrats have enabled this waste for years. Federal dollars are not a blank check. They come with a promise to deliver results. After over a decade of failures, California High-Speed Rail Association mismanagement and incompetence has proven it cannot build its train to nowhere on time or on budget. And Donald Trump picks up on that high-speed train to nowhere. Calling it that. Well, California sued him for the $4 billion, which was promised as part of this package. They just dropped the lawsuit quietly. Yeah. Bob Bonita, the California Attorney General, filed a notice on December 23rd, voluntarily dismissing the lawsuit without prejudice on behalf of California High-Speed Rail Authority. Yeah, it's gone. Well, a spokesperson, and here's what the California has to say about it, why they dropped that lawsuit. The action reflects the state's assessment that the federal government is not a reliable, constructive, or trustworthy partner in advancing high-speed rail in California. The Federal Railroad Administration stated that all work performed by the authority, whether undertaken as part of cooperative agreement or otherwise, remains at risk and may not receive funding, combined with the administration's persistent lack of good faith engagement. This made clear that the federal government is unlikely to uphold its commitments to California. As a result, the state has opted to move forward without Trump administration. We regret that they will not share in California's success. So they said, we don't want the $4 million. Well, the federal government was going to represent about 18% of the total expenditures of that. Now, California is looking for private enterprise. According to the, they've had delays, ballooning costs, major change orders. Substantial federal funds have already been spent despite failure to meet the key milestone. Federal funds kept coming under Biden, even though they didn't meet anything. They didn't do anything that was required of them. They're way behind schedule. It was supposed to be done by now. Parts of it, not all of it, but parts of it were supposed to be done by now, according to, the Proposition 1A. And it was supposed to be between San Francisco and LA. Now it's Merced to Bakersfield, which doesn't have that kind of population. They need a high-speed train for whatever. But now, according to Ian Chowdhury, he is the CEO of this project. He said interest from private sector in investing in California's high-speed rail project is strong and continues to grow. So they're going private. They want to get private funds in there. I don't see private businesses pouring money into something like this that keeps escalating in price and offering less and less for the money, and delays are outrageous. Ian says today's procurement formalizes efforts to partner with private investors and developers with the shared goal of delivering California's transformational program faster, smarter, and more economically. Why weren't you doing it economically in the past? The government wasn't running. The federal government wasn't running. California government was running this thing. If you could do it economically, you should have been doing that. But Ian says, by leveraging private sector innovation and best practices against strong, stable state funding, we can maximize the value of California's investment and accelerate delivery of high-speed infrastructure throughout the state. They're working on 171 miles, not throughout the state. That's all that they're working on under design and construction, with 80 miles of gateway completed. Who knows how long before they ever put down a piece of track or buy a train or design one. This seems going to be a never-ending train to nowhere. It's just amazing the amount of time they started talking about it, and they opened up the authority in 1996. That was 30 years ago. And they have nothing, even though billions of dollars have been spent. Proposition 1A passed in 2008. And they still have nothing to show for it other than 80 miles. 80 miles of guideway. That's what they have. That's visual that you can see. 80 miles of guideway. And it says dozens of major infrastructure. Well, the major infrastructure means guideway. The guideway, some of it had to be built over spans and stuff. That's what they got. 80 miles of guideway. No track. So yeah, they need some real help down in California, but they don't mind standing up and not admitting fault or anything, but just being irritated and outraged. How dare you pull the money away? Just because we didn't meet any of our quotas, didn't meet any of our scheduled our scheduled track lane and all that. They haven't done anything other than some guideway. Yeah, 30 years ago. Yeah, young people that started this program have now retired. They're gone. So who knows where it's going to go? But I've heard it said, and listening to some commentators about this, that the reason California dropped it is because in a federal law, in the lawsuit, the federal government would have had access to the records. Federal government would have had to say, well, open up the records and show us where you've completed requirements. And that there was such a fear of opening those records because it's filled with non-performance and some stuff they didn't want the federal government to see, I guess. They didn't want to see how inept they were. That's speculation. That's why they dropped it. Of course, now they say they dropped it because you're just a bad partner. Sounds like political spin to me. I'll be right back. AM 560.
A mix of clouds and sun today with a high of 71 and strong winds out of the north at 15 to 25 miles per hour today. Partly cloudy, breezy tonight with a low of 58. Mainly cloudy and windy on Tuesday, high of 73. Cloudy and 58 on Tuesday night.
The Desert Lily Annual Quilt Show is coming Friday and Saturday, January 9th and 10th at the Yuma Civic Center with hundreds of beautiful quilts and wearable art items on display. See the special quilt celebrating America's 250th birthday. There'll be items for sale at the country stores and a fat quarter basket drawing. Admission is just $8. Buy tickets for your chance at winning the Love in a Mist quilt. Proceeds to benefit the Hanson House. The Desert Lily Annual Quilt Show, January 9th and 10th at the Yuma Civic Center. Don't miss it.
What's up, Yuma, and hello, Russ Clark Show listeners. Johnny Porter here, and I just made the switch to Allo Fiber, and it's a game changer. Lightning fast speeds for streaming, working from home, and gaming. No buffering or slowed down speeds. It's time to ditch the glitch and switch to Allo Fiber.
Hey, I'm Mike Slater. My dad passed away at the age of 63. It's out of nowhere. Had a stroke. Super hard, obviously, for the whole family, but my dad had life insurance. This is why I have life insurance for my family, for my wife and 4 kids. And the best place to get life insurance is ethos.com because you can do it in 10 minutes. And there's no medical exam and no blood test, just a few health questions. Get life insurance in 10 minutes so your family is protected. Ethos, E-T-H-O-S, ethos.com/Mike.
AM 560 KBLU, Russ Clark with you. It's Monday morning, 7:35. Yeah, you've got to work today and tomorrow. And then Wednesday's New Year's Eve. I don't know how many business let off early or whatever. And then, of course, Thursday is New Year's Day. And Friday is just the day before the weekend. So it's going to be an interesting week. I wonder how much productivity is going to get done out there. Hopefully a lot. Hopefully we need it. I want to talk about Tim Walz now a little bit, the Minnesota governor, who I would assume is in great trouble, but he doesn't seem to recognize that. He's pretty assured that he's the solution and not the problem. And in fact, with all the fraud that's going on and probably yet to be discovered in the state of Minnesota. To mind-boggling numbers of fraud. He's taken responsibility now. After he denied it was happening and it was no big deal and it was somebody else's fault. Well, I'm the governor, so I'm responsible, but I'm also the guy that's going to fix it. Wow. And if people in Minnesota buy that, then they deserve what they get. If the people of Minnesota vote him back in after all that, and that, terrible answer to it, then yeah, they deserve it. But who knows? They may do it. That wouldn't surprise me, unfortunately. Tim Walz still pushing back against the fraud allegations. And that's in spite of this viral video that Jonathan and I were just talking about by Nick Shirley. Nick Shirley went and visited the daycares that were on the list of getting federal funds. And they didn't exist, some of them. Some of them had, nobody in the buildings. One of them, it was a learning center. They misspelled learning. and knocking on the door. And a Karen came up. And I say Karen derogatory is it's usually a white lady that wants to jump in and stop evil, what they consider people evil getting into people's business, which this is taxpayer money. This learning center was getting like $1.9 million a year for 99 kids. That's a lot. I didn't know they made so much good money for 99 kids, and there were no kids in the building. The building didn't have anybody in it. It was a weekday. And Nick Shirley talked to neighbors and people that lived across the street. It was a business type area, and some people that worked there, and said they never saw a kid dropped off or picked up. Well, Tim Walz knows about these videos, and he's pushing back against them. In fact, a spokesperson for Tim Walz said the governor has worked for years to crack down on fraud and asked the state legislature for more authority to take aggressive action. He has strengthened oversight, including launching investigations into specific facilities, one of which was already closed. Walz has hired an outside firm to audit payments to high-risk programs, shut down the Housing Stabilization Service program entirely, announced a new statewide program integrity director, and supported criminal prosecutions. I mean, after the cow's out of the barn. Let's take a phone call. You're on the air.
Good morning. How are you doing?
We're doing well, Ted. Good morning. What kind of graft and fraud are you up to?
You just had a gentleman on talking about they're still using the tribal lands here in Yuma or in Arizona to come across the border illegally.
Well, that's his accusation. That's Jonathan Townsend Alexander. He's been walking the border for years now, watching activity. But I know of no incidences at Kokopah. I mean, I know there has been. I mean, not that Kokopah does it, but I mean, people have come across that area.
So we got Waltz up there with the Somalis and all.
Yeah.
And we got a governor here in Arizona that's allowing it to come across tribal lands and not doing anything or even check on it.
Well, the governor has no control over that.
That's the head law enforcement in Arizona.
Yeah, but this is federal, and nobody's stopping the
once they step off that borderline in Arizona, they're on state property.
That's true. That's true. And there are certain things that law enforcement can do. But you remember Governor Ducey, he put up barriers, on the border. So because the federal government was ignoring him under Biden and all that. And our current governor took those down. And they're back up now because the feds did it. But our governor took them down. So I agree with you that she is not aware of the problem, or she was exacerbating the problem.
She's fully aware of it. She was just down here. She knows what's going on.
Yeah.
Once they touch once their foot touches that Arizona state land, it's her duty as the chief law enforcement to do the right thing.
But the tribal land is sovereign, and they didn't want border fences up at first. And I know the Trump administration was negotiating with them to get that done, and it looked favorably when Biden got in, and they stopped it. And I'm talking about the Kokopah. And I haven't talked to any tribal members. I don't know anything for a fact, but I've been told that by some government agents that Biden stopped it all. But it's the Kokopah has to agree with it. All the Indian tribes on the border have to agree with it that they would let the fences being put up on their land.
It's fine and dandy that they come in on their land. But once they exit that tribal land, where are they at?
That's a great point. And I mean, not that we're going to put fences around the tribal land or anything,
No.
but I tell you, the Border Patrol, they're aware of it, and there's cameras, there's motion detectors. So I'd be surprised how much activity really happens, at least here at Kokopah. I don't know about Tucson area, where it's a little more wilderness. But right out here, I think they would have a hard time because, there's so few incursions right now that they got time to watch that area because it is an open area where there's no fencing. That's the only place in Yuma County, I think, now that has the open fencing is right there at the Kokopah area. Well, until you get out into the military stuff, there might be some opens out there. I don't know. That's way out there though, on the Barry Goldwater Range.
Yeah, I guess I just expect too much of my governor to protect me and my family.
Yeah.
That must be what it is. I'm just expecting.
Well, and you should, and the governor should be lobbying. The governor should be, and like Ducey did. Ducey kept demanding that fence be finished and all that. Biden for years pushed him off, so he bought some containers and put them up,
right,
and welded them together. Well, he didn't do it personally. He had someone do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think he went to trade school.
Yeah.
No, I'm petitioning her right now to come and walk that border where there's tribal lands are, and then come back and tell me, oh no, it's secure. I want her to say that. I want her personally to say that.
Well,
that is her job. No, that's her job.
Yeah. And it's a negotiation with the tribal lands, and you got to respect their sovereignty. You do.
I don't
legally.
want her on their land. I want her standing there where they meet.
Okay.
Where the tribal land starts and Arizona state land meets. I want her right there.
I don't
let her walk that.
I don't think
they're
it's
not staying on the tribal land.
No. I think it's and that's where you're going to probably find the Border Patrol agents and the cameras and all that kind of stuff, because they recognize that's a place they can actually get across, because it doesn't have a 30-foot fence. They do have some Normandy type barricades that you can't get vehicles or anything through, but easily stepped over. Even you could step over that.
Right. Like I say, I want her personally to say it.
Okay.
I want her to personally say it.
Well,
not her friends or her buddies or this or that or you.
She's
I want her to say it.
She's got a bully pulpit that could probably push negotiations and push some interest. And I don't know what's been happening with them at all. I haven't spoken with the tribe. I'd be interested too in doing it. I might give them a call and ask them if that's something that they're working with the feds on and stuff. But they've always been cooperative, the Kokopah tribes.
Right.
You know, they've been.
Well, it's destroying them.
Of course it
Their
does.
children are getting killed by it.
It doesn't benefit them.
No,
I don't think. But
so
that's
like I say,
at the end of the day, their decision.
Right. It may be like asking for a lot, but I like to see her walk that border and then tell me, no, Ted, they're not coming through the tribal lands on state property.
I don't think you're going to get that.
I know I'm not.
I don't think so.
All right. Have a good day.
You too,
sir.
man. Take care. Bye-bye. Mr. Ted wants the impossible. Tim Walt's spokesperson has said, well, let me see. I think I went through that. No, Waltz has hired outside firms audit. And the fact he's done all this too little too late is just amazing. And he's beating his chest and saying that I'm the guy, I'm going to fix it and all that. They had whistleblowers in the state of Minnesota that have been coming forward for years, complaining. These things are growing out of control, and no one's listening. And Tim Waltz was governor. They don't care. Surely in the video, and another man are seeing what appears to be a large inactive facility, and that's the Quality Learning Center. Even though the center is reportedly supposed to have 99 children, receive $4 million in state funds, and that's over 2 years. Nobody was there. And no, Tim knows about that. Surely suggests other journalists may be reluctant to pursue ceremony reporting out of fear of being labeled Islamophobic or racist. And I hear that all the time. That's part of the reason they turn their back on some of the numbers, is they don't want to offend the Somalian community, be called racist. Shirley says fraud is fraud, and we work hard to simply just to be paying taxes enable fraud to be happening. We work too hard to pay taxes. Kash Patel has had he's been paying attention. I guess he saw some of Shirley's videos. So he said the agency surged additional personnel and investigative resources to Minnesota as a part of an ongoing effort to dismantle large-scale fraud schemes exploiting federal programs. And there's a few guys like Shirley up there doing that right now. And thank you guys for doing that. And this article still says at least $1 billion lost to alleged social services fraud, largely tied to the Somali community in the Twin Cities. And I've heard others say $9 billion, but that's, who knows what validity that has. Don't know. There was a listener out there that thinks that the tribes are a part of the problem as far as allowing it and being part of it. I have no idea. I hope not. And if they are, I hope it gets found out. Let's take a phone call. You're on the air.
Russ,
Good morning, sir.
this goes in line with what you're talking about.
Okay.
Preamble of the Constitution.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Did you notice they got a word in there called posterity?
No.
Yeah, well, they do. It's the main purpose, the main point of the preamble. Posterity. Most people don't know what it means, I'm sure.
But you're going to tell us.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to tell you. Our founders created the United States for ourselves. The founders and the founders created for the founders and their own posterity. Posterity, I'm sitting here looking at it. It says posterity means all future generations of all descendants of a person.
Right. It's to be passed on. Right.
Yes. And it's not intended for foreigners or anybody else coming here. That's not who the Constitution is. That's not. It's for generations of our posterity, for our own generations of our future kids and such. That's what the word is in the preamble. The preamble is the only thing that guarantees people anything. The rest of the Constitution, what it is about, it tells the government what it can't do to you. That's what the Constitution is about.
Wow.
It tells the government what it cannot do to you, the citizen. But the preamble is where all your rights are intended to be.
So you're saying that the preamble doesn't say we're going to do things for the world and invite people in and give them everything they need. It doesn't say that.
Exactly. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's a great
And
point.
The
That is a great point.
The Democrats have distorted all this.
Yeah.
And the people being dumbasses, they just follow right along. Because, see, here's what created the issue we got in the society. It's not their fault.
Mm-hmm.
My education came prior to 1977, prior to Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter was the one that implemented the 10th plank of the Communist Manifesto that I always talk about. That dumbed down America. That put one person in charge of our educational system, and that's the freaking government.
Yeah, that's
and just send it back to the states and the parents of the kids that can run the educational system.
Well, that's where it's going under Trump. It's trying to go back. You can't cancel it yet because that takes Congress.
It already is taking effect, because if you'll notice, when they shut the government down, it did not. The school kids didn't miss a day of school because it was back in the States. Had it not been back to the States when they shut the government down, the teachers and everybody would have taken a hike, and the schools would have shut down, just like the COVID.
Yeah.
That's why it's imperative that education and all your goodies are at the state level. And if they really want to fix it, repeal the damn 17th Amendment, put the governors back in charge of the State House in D.C.
Yeah.
Yes, because our legislature are supposed to nominate people for the Senate seat. Send those names to the governor. Then the governor picks out who they want. If they don't do the state's business, the government can recall them and fire them. Right now, the Senate's have no boss. Because the people, they don't care. They're not going to impeach the guy, ever. So they need it back on the state level. And that's what they call the Senate. They call it the Senate chamber now. But they used to call it the State House prior to 1913, when Woodrow Wilson created the 17th Amendment and signed it. And it's an illegal ratification is what it was. And he signed it into law. And I want to know where the hell the Supreme Court is on this. Because if the Supreme Court is supposed to be the interpreter of law, then they're supposed to recognize bad law and strike it down. And they did not do that for over 100 years. So I don't have much faith in our Supreme Court system, because it derived from the Congress, which created the judicial branch of government.
Right.
And I'm just saying, we're in trouble, and I hope Trump covers the judicial system, and I hope he covers what I was just talking about on posterity, and that also goes in line with the illegal, the Red Amendments. People look up the word Red Amendment and see what you get. You're going to get the 14th Amendment, what you're going to get.
Right.
They call it Red Amendment. That's a communist. Red is a term for communism. You know that.
Yes, it has been. Yes.
Yes, back in the Cold War. Yes, it was a word to describe the Cold War. The Reds, They were the ones trying to take over the country. And they're doing a good job because they already control 10 states that we call blue states. They are red states, folks. Red not as in Republican, but red as in communism.
Yeah, they did flip that at some point. I think it used to be different.
Yes.
Yeah, they did flip it. I don't know who decided that, but they did.
Well, this is your monarchy at work. This is who's taking a toll with Trump. Is a monarchy in this world. We only got 43 of them left. Their total population of their voters, or they don't have voters, but their population is 589 million people, and that's a far cry from the 8.2 billion that we have on this planet. And since we're talking about that, white people, Caucasians, folks, your number is only 790 million out of 8.2 billion. The rest, I would refer to them as coloreds. I know Latinos don't want to be called that, but Latinos are the ones that got a Hispanic caucus in Washington, so they're a bunch of communists too.
Yeah.
But if we have a white caucus, well, they have a black caucus, a Hispanic caucus, but if you have no white caucus, but if you have a white caucus, we are accused of being white supremacists. You understand that?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes, of course.
So I'm just saying, when you have 7.3 billion people at war with the 790 million Caucasian race. So we are the true minority, folks, not the other way around. We are. So let's kick them out and make this country. We don't even have a white country in this planet. Unless you want to talk about Russia. Yep. And Russia is a communist. You do what I tell you or you're dead. That's the kind of government they got.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. As many countries across the world are like that. That's unfortunate.
Well, there's four countries that advertise, and they are out on front page news that don't want black people. And that is China, Russia, Japan, and India. So black folks, you better get it together because this is the only country that you can live in and make millions.
Yeah. Well,
I am serious.
Because there's freedom. You can do it. There's opportunity.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I know.
Yeah. And being brought here illegally and as slaves, and they only represent 12% of the population. And I can't understand why they dominate television and everything else. There's just some whites that are totally against the United States also. They're cramming this crap down your throat, and people, just turn them off. Don't even watch it. And especially, don't buy the products that they advertise.
No question about it.
You look at the first 5 minutes of your football games, your national football games.
Mm-hmm.
Cameras don't even try to hide the black people holding their hands behind their back and twisting and turning. Can't wait till the national anthem is over with.
It's all unfortunate. It's why I don't watch football anymore.
Me too. Why don't they just quit playing the national anthem if they're going to abuse it and quit abusing My Star Spangled Banner? It's a lovely flag, and it was written from Francis Scott Keys wrote it. It actually was a poem, and it had four chapters to it, and they only sing the first two chapters of the poem. I call them chapters, but
stanzas. Yeah.
But they only sing the first two out of respect for Great Britain. Had they sang the whole four, it would be slandering Great Britain because it was written on that boat. Remember by Francis Scott Keys when he was held captive?
Yeah, it was a prison boat.
Watching the flag still standing in all that bombardment that they were doing.
Yep, they didn't seem to win the battle though.
Well, the United States has a lovely history if people would just pay attention and read the history of it. It's nothing derogatory in our history, nothing, except what the Democrats project by way of the Confederacy.
Yeah.
Jefferson Davis was a Democrat senator in Mississippi. When they picked him, they didn't vote for him. They appointed him to be president of the Confederacy. And he's the one that brought you into white supremacy, the KKK, and the Jim Crow laws. The Democrats brought you all that, folks. What the Republicans? The Republicans are for individual sovereignty, period. The Democrats, the only sovereignty they talk about is the state or community. That's it. No individual rights under Democrats. If you want to be a prisoner, flip the midterms next year, and you will be one with digital currency.
All right, buddy. I got to run, my friend.
Yeah, I know you do.
Thanks,
you have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye. Yeah, I wanted to mention one thing before I got off the air. I mentioned that the proposition to build high-speed trains in California won by 52%, not a landslide. Well, one of the listeners pointed that out. And I said, no, and he said, but he's heard Trump's election a landslide, which you do. And I think, he won the Electoral College by 58%. I don't remember exactly what the popular vote was, but it's about expectation. He was expected to lose the popular vote by 5% or better, and he won the popular vote. He was not expected to win all 7 swing states, and he did win all 7 swing states. So it was a little more impressive than just the 52% of popular vote, or if that's what it was. I don't know if it's 51, 52. But the fact that he even won a popular vote was kind of shocking, because all the polls shows that it wasn't. So they do call that a landslide, I guess. I guess it's all subjective. With that, I'm out of time. I will be back tomorrow. Life, Death, and Law up next. AM 560, KBLU.
There's a man in D.C. He stands 6'3". He's fighting for you. He's fighting for me. He'll drain that old swamp.
This is News Talk 560 KBLU, Yuma.
Keep the peace in Gaza. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. That's on President Trump's agenda. In about 3 hours, he'll host Israel's prime minister at the Mar-a-Lago resort in Florida, where he held